At first glance, it looks like a brainless blob that can't really do anything but ooze around. But if that's all it was, it wouldn't be the subject of so much scientific fascination. It can't even die, at least not in the normal sense. If you cut it in half, each piece can just rejoin the main blob later, and that's not even its weirdest trick. This is slime mold. And in some ways, this humble fungus does things that are more impressive than what you might think any organism can do. It can solve problems on its own, remember things about its environment, navigate mazes, and even work together with other slime molds to figure out where food is. What's most surprising is that it can do all these things without a nervous system. So scientists have been trying to get to the bottom of how the blob solves problems without a brain. And the answers they've found could help us build better AI. If you're new here, hi, I'm here to introduce you to Minute Earth. Let's start with the basic slime mold facts. First, it isn't technically a mold. Mold is a colony of fungi working together. But slime molds are single cells. They are giant single cells. Some slime molds can grow over 10 centimeters wide. That's about the size of your hand. And you can see them with the naked eye. They often look like pale yellow or orange blobs oozing along decaying wood or the leaves on the forest floor. And although we call them slime molds, they're actually made up of many smaller cells that work together. These smaller cells, called myxamoebas, can move independently and eat on their own. But when they find other slime mold cells, they can fuse with them to form one giant cell. As that giant cell grows bigger, it starts to secrete slime, which helps it move around and absorb nutrients from its surroundings. Now, being a giant single cell comes with challenges. Finding food can be hard because the slime mold has to send out feelers to search for it, and it also has to be able to respond to danger. Even though slime molds don't have neurons, the slime blob can sense danger and take steps to avoid it. For example, if it encounters an acid, it can move away from it. And if it touches something toxic, it can stop moving until the danger passes. To make matters more confusing, the slime mold doesn't always know the direction it's moving in. Sometimes it moves randomly. So how does it know when it's in danger? And how does it know which way to go to escape? Well, to answer that question, scientists turned slime molds into a kind of game show contestant. In a 2023 paper in the journal PNAS, researchers placed slime molds at one end of a maze-like structure with food at the other end. Then they put a little drop of acid somewhere in the middle of the maze, acting as a little speed bump. At first, the slime molds didn't seem to know which way to go. They just moved randomly around the maze. But after a while, they started to figure things out. After about 48 hours, the slime molds had mostly figured out how to avoid the acid and head toward the food. And over the next few days, they became more and more efficient at finding food without getting zapped. So how do they do it? Well, the answer lies in how the slime molds exchange information. Slime molds communicate via chemical signals. When one part of the slime mold finds food, it releases chemicals into its surroundings. The parts of the slime mold can pick up those signals and start heading in that direction. Scientists aren't exactly sure how slime molds interpret those chemical signals. Maybe it's a matter of chance. A certain molecule could just naturally drift toward the food and end up triggering slime mold movement in the right direction. Or maybe the slime mold has an almost unconscious ability to calculate the best path based on the information its senses are picking up. Scientists are still trying to figure out exactly how the slime mold interprets those chemical signals and decides which way to move. But they think it's all happening in the slime mold's skin. Well, sort of. Slime molds don't have skin in the way that we think of it. Instead, there's a layer of slime just outside of the giant cell. In this slime, there are special proteins that act as receptors. The receptors detect chemical signals and pass messages along the giant cell membrane until the slime mold moves toward food or away from danger. In fact, this communication network is similar to how neurons send messages in our bodies. But in slime molds, the receptors and the networks they form are distributed all over the giant cell. There's no central command center, and while slime molds have been doing this on their own for millions of years, researchers are trying to recreate these slime mold communication networks to help them understand how slime molds make decisions. One reason slime molds are such fascinating subjects is that they make a great model system for studying the evolution of intelligence. To solve problems and remember things, our brains use electricity. Neurons send signals by generating electrical impulses. This electrical activity is ultimately what allows us to do things like plan for the future and reflect on the past. So by studying how slime molds solve problems without generating their own electricity, researchers can learn more about how natural selection led to the evolution of brains. But slime molds can also teach us how to improve AI. Today's AIs are good at solving problems in very specific ways. They can play chess incredibly well, for example, but they'll lose every time they play against a toddler at checkers. And why is that? Well, it's because checkers requires intuitive reasoning. You need to be able to consider multiple possible scenarios at once and guess which one is most likely to happen. Slime molds are surprisingly good at this kind of intuitive reasoning. By studying how slime molds make decisions, researchers hope to learn how to make AIs that can do the same thing. Slime molds may not be as cute as a talking AI assistant, but they are teaching us how to build systems that can handle unexpected situations. And perhaps even better, they're showing us how to build those systems with less energy. In addition to their problem-solving skills, slime molds also have another trick up their collective sleeve. They can work together. In some cases, two slime molds can meet and then act together to find food. In experiments, slime molds have demonstrated that they can recognize other slime molds and tell whether they are the same species. And that's not all they can remember about their environment. Slime molds can also remember where they've been. In 2021, researchers at the University of California, San Diego, published a paper in the journal Developmental Cell describing slime molds that remembered being exposed to a predator. In their experiments, researchers exposed slime molds to a predatory microorganism called a didinium. When exposed to the dinoflagellate, the slime molds released a chemical signal and retreated into their slime. After a few minutes, the slime molds seemed to calm down, and after about 2 days, they started to move around again. But if the researchers re-exposed the slime molds to the didinium, the slime molds reacted faster and retreated into their slime for longer. The second time around, they had clearly remembered their encounter with the predator, but slime molds can remember more than just scary run-ins. In a 2023 paper in the journal Current Biology, researchers described slime molds that remembered the presence of food. In their experiment, the researchers placed oat flakes in the path of slime molds and then removed the oat flakes before the slime molds reached them. The next time the slime molds were placed in the same area, they moved faster towards the spot where the oat flakes had been, and they even grew tendrils towards the spot. These slime mold memories last at least a week, and possibly much longer. The scientists aren't exactly sure how slime molds remember things, but they think it has to do with changes in gene expression. When something interesting happens, like encountering food or a predator, the slime mold turns certain genes on or off, which changes how the slime mold behaves. Together, these studies suggest that slime molds are capable of some pretty complex stuff, including remembering their past experiences and using that memory to inform how they behave in the present. And as scientists continue to study these fascinating organisms, they will no doubt uncover even more surprising abilities. As for me, I'm going to keep watching slime molds to see if they develop any opinions about their situation. But please don't ask me if the blob is sentient. Speaking of amazing abilities, humans have some pretty powerful tools at their disposal, like this incredible microscope. It lets us see tiny things in incredible detail, which is how we learn so much about the slime mold. But not everyone has access to this technology. Our videos and interactives would not be possible without our supporters who donate to our organization, which is a non-profit. Our mission is to spread interest and understanding of science. So if you're passionate about what we do and want to help us reach more people, you can join our community on our support page.